you're looking at flyers. I mean, I'm writing about PCA later this week, and I'm not saying he was a flyer as a first-round pick, but he was drafted in 2020, didn't have a professional season in 2020 because it was COVID. He played 6 games in 21 and got hurt, missed the rest of the season, and it is a little bit of a flyer.
What's up, Jess?
Yeah, I'm going to spend most of my time on the north side, but I am going to go to pregame on the south side tomorrow to see the Cardinals. You'll like this thing, Carmen. You like little baseball inside stuff, right?
Yeah, sure.
So and Jurko, I'm sure you'll like this too. The Cardinals and Brewers just played in Milwaukee against each other. Got a little feisty. Did you see all that?
Yes.
See why? Wilson Contreras right in the middle of it. He caught a ball at first, backed into the runner, and then Jose Quintana, who used to be a teammate of Contreras, plunked him, and Quintana's like the nicest guy in the world. Yeah. He plunks him. Wilson tracks down the ball and goes and hands it to Jose Quintana. I thought that was hilarious. So they have there's some other stuff that goes on, feisty. They both traveled down here by bus, staying in the same hotel in Chicago this week. The Brewers and the Cardinals, after having that kind of a feisty series. I love it.
I do like that. That's a lot of action in that one hotel, too, with two
So I've got some elevator sources. In case something goes down in the elevator, I'm going to get the scoop. That's what my guy at the hotel told me. So we'll see.
Funny.
And, of course, Wilson and William Contreras, brothers on opposite teams.
Yes, indeed.
So I'd like to see them square off if anything went down.
Well, the Cubs coming off their first day off in a while, right, Jess? I mean, and you made note of that a few times. I know the offense hasn't looked great, but at some point they were due for maybe a little bit of a regression. Look, the Yankees have scored, I think, 5 runs in their last 5 games total, for crying out loud, and they've been shut out in back-to-back games. So good offenses, even very good ones, are prone to sometimes a little bit of a slump.
Yeah, the Red Sox swept them and then traded their best player. It's crazy in the AL East there. But the Yankees scored 4 runs in the 3-game sweep. The Cubs didn't score a lot, but they won 3 of 4 against the Pirates, only losing the day skiing started. I think the day off, the weather change, and a couple other factors. Kyle Tucker is still feeling it in the finger a little bit. He's DH'd a bunch. He had Sunday off, which surprised me. So I would assume another day off yesterday is going to help that as well. So I think there's a few reasons to be optimistic about this offense. One caveat, the Brewers know them well. These teams usually play tight games, and they're facing 2 pitchers they've never faced before, Chad Patrick today and the flamethrower Mizorowski tomorrow.
Yep.
So you never know. But I think the Cubs offense is going to come back in short order. Maybe not these 3 games, putting up 6-7 runs a game, but soon enough.
What do you expect out of Ben Brown tonight? What's kind of important as he tries to reset himself after a shaky start last time out?
This guy he's a roller coaster. I mean, I'm going to read off his ERA by inning. 10.5 in the first inning, 0.69 in the second inning, 1.38 in the third, and then 9.95 in the fourth. And then it's like 10 in the fifth. I mean, he is up and down, up and down. It's going to be interesting. Weather has changed again, as I mentioned. Wind has only blown out 4 times all season. I'm not there yet. I assume it's blowing out because usually with these temperatures, it does. So what kind of Ben Brown are we going to get? It's all about that first inning to me. Now, sometimes he's bad late, as I mentioned, but if he can get past the first, you've got the good Ben Brown going. And with the wind blowing out, I'm not sure that he can. The Brewers have kind of found themselves this season. They're neck and neck with the Cubs over the last 30 days. The Cubs 20-10, Milwaukee 19-11. Their OPSs are 11-12 over the last 30 days. Their ERAs are similar. So this is the Milwaukee team we saw a lot last year. They're getting healthy on the mound, and I've always liked their lineup. In fact, stolen bases over the last 30 days, they're second and third, I think, in the league, 31-30 or something like that, Cubs and Brewers. So they mimic each other. I just think the Cubs are better. But if Ben Brown could get past that first inning, and I don't know what the key is, to be honest. I don't know how he does it other than make good pitches and be ready right away.
I don't know how do you explain that? It's to be so up and down inning to inning like that.
Well, I could explain the first inning a little bit. It's Craig Counsell's theory, especially for a young pitcher. I mean, it's kind of obvious in some ways. I don't know if it's the real answer, but when you take the mound for the first inning as a starter, you haven't pitched in 5 days. And so you've got to get that feel back, and this is why, think about over the weekend, Matthew Boyd, first inning run, that's all he gave up. Colin Ray, first inning runs, that's all the Cubs gave up. So it's not just, Ben Brown. The problem is sometimes it's more than just a run or two. It's a big, crooked number for him. So it's not uncommon for pitchers to have trouble in the first inning. I don't quite know why he's so dominant after that, and then he gives it up a little bit. But maybe it's just the volatility of a young pitcher.
They've toyed with the opener. Not toyed. I mean, they've done the opener with him a few times, right? Is it something that they would consider doing more often, or is that just in, I don't know, is that in unique circumstances or when the right opportunity arises? Or would it be something they would do all the time with him?
Yeah, I asked Craig Counsell that, and it's what you just said about just unique opportunities. Where's your bullpen at? Who are you facing? Are they lefty, righty, lefty, righty? Are they all left? Are they all, all that stuff? I think they just should use it all the time on Ben Brown, to be honest, because of these first inning woes. He's not willing to do that just yet. But maybe he'll end up there because there's something going on, certainly between the ears, I think, with Ben Brown early in the game. But I think unless a team is heavily right-handed or especially heavily left-handed early in the top of the order, he's not going to do it again. Pomerantz is perfect for like the Phillies or certainly the Washington Nationals. Yeah, he just doesn't like it unless it's something or the Mets.
Okay.
He just doesn't like it. But I think they should just do it. Just do it. What's the difference? Ben Brown's not going 7, so if you're going to use a reliever in the 7th, why not just use him in the 1st and let Ben Brown go 6? We've seen him do that before.
PCA was up in the order the other day, but also Kyle Tucker was out with an extra day off. Where is PCA ultimately going to settle? Will they continue to kind of tinker with a few different spots in the lineup? What do you think about how they've constructed the top of the order?
Man, Jurko, if I had a dime for every talk show host that asked me about this, I'd be rich.
Yeah,
I know.
Be rich.
You are rich, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm rich in friendship. Let's put it
That's
that way.
right.
They have 4 good hitters. I got to tell this to Sylvie every day. You can mix and match however you want. Hap makes the most sense because you don't have to change anything lefty or righty on the mound. He's a switch hitter who takes walks. I mean, you could lead off Kyle Tucker. That was Shea Norling's idea yesterday. The one thing I mentioned yesterday is, look, PCA is hitting 340 with runners in scoring position. Now, that could change at any moment and certainly could change next year, but I think they want to ride that out as long as they can. Sometimes a guy has a knack with guys on in a certain year. You can't explain it. And he has 8 home runs, which leads the majors in homers with runners in scoring position. I think they just want to play with that, and you're not going to get that if he's leading off. So that's why I think he stays in the 4-hole, or if they flip someone, maybe in the 3-hole. And the other thing is against lefties, he's like 176, 200 on base. You're not going to lead him off against them, and then all of a sudden you have to move around the lineup with different pitchers on the mound. So I think they're going to keep it the way it is. That's
where Tucker's so good. He's equally as good against lefties. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's great. He's better this year.
It's amazing.
In fact.
I mean,
better.
That's what a luxury. What I don't know how tuned in you are to this, but what's the Brewers' plan after the Vaughn trade? Is he up? I don't think he played over the weekend with them. Is Vaughn going to be on the big league club, or is he in the minors?
No, he's in the minors.
He's in the minors.
Yeah,
okay.
They optioned him right away. I think they're just going to try to fix him.
Okay.
Maybe he's the first baseman of the future if Rhys Hoskins moves on. I'm talking about after this year.
Okay.
But he's a reclamation project, just like you see all the time. And so they took a flyer on him. It's kind of the Milwaukee way.
Yeah.
Maybe get someone on the cheap in some ways and see if they can fix him. If not, he'll be a free agent, or they can non-tender him and let him go. But he doesn't have a place in the big league club because he's not going to start. You're not really going to play him off the bench, especially the way he's hitting right now.
Okay. Savali was okay. I mean, he was a little wild in his first start over the weekend for the White Sox, but I don't know, gives them a couple of at least mid-tier interesting trade chips, getting back, some mid-tier B prospects maybe. I mean, Savali and Hauser should be 2 guys that are, in a sense, in demand for the White Sox as they approach the deadline in about a month, right, Jess?
In demand is an aggressive way of putting
maybe
it,
a little
Carmen.
too harsh.
And I don't know if you said B prospects, more like C prospects.
Okay.
I mean, anybody could add Adrian Hauser, taking nothing away from the fact he's done well. They're not giving up a ton for him or Savali. I mean, there's a reason Savali was moved out of the starting rotation in Milwaukee. He's not as good as the guys they have. He's certainly good enough for the White Sox. So you're looking at flyers. I mean, I'm writing about PCA later this week, and I'm not saying he was a flyer as a first-round pick, but he was drafted in 2020, didn't have a professional season in 2020 because it was COVID. They, get drafted, you go home.
Yep.
He played 6 games in 21 and got hurt, missed the rest of the season, which is why he was probably available to be traded. And it is a little bit of a flyer. You haven't seen the kid play since high school, and even that year was a COVID year. And so, it was a first-round pick, but what you're looking at is flyers, C prospect flyers in Hauser and Savali's case, a prospect flyer in some ways in PCA's case. So you just never know. And I was talking to Jed about that whole thing. It's like, look, they knew we were trading Bryant. They knew we were trading Baez and Rizzo. Nobody was offering me their top prospects. It's just because we didn't have the leverage.
Right.
It's like Boston with Devers. They didn't have the leverage. They were calling around teams, asking the rich teams like the Cubs. They called the Cubs, hey, do you want Rafael Devers? And they knew they wanted to get rid of him, and the Giants barely had to give up much for him, though they have to pay that.
They got to take the salary. That's it. But yeah. I think they'll gladly do it.
The Giants are glad to do it. Absolutely. It's hard to attract hitters there. I think Buster Posey was the right guy at the right time for that job, and they have plenty of money to spend. So, long story short, you're taking flyers on July 31st for guys like Hauser and Savali.
Yeah, what about the Devers thing? I'm glad you brought that up. Could it have been that bad of a situation between he and the Red Sox after, a year after signing him? I mean, seemingly making him the centerpiece of your franchise. I know they have a lot of really good young prospects, Jess, and they want those guys to play and they're cost controllable, but you signed him a year ago. He's your last vestige to your last championship team. You drafted him, you developed him. He's one of the best hitters in the American League. It seems aggressive in a sense to be, you don't want to move to first base, so we're going to trade you. What has happened in Boston?
From everything I read and talked to people, it's just a culture thing that he just wasn't playing along, and they have a slew of young prospects, and they didn't want him impacting them in a negative way. It is baffling. The guy had a 400 on base percentage. We're in mid-June. I mean, they're in the hunt. They just swept the Yankees, but I guess they couldn't find a position, and they're going to save $250 million. I will tell you this: tune into SportsCenter on Friday. I'm flying out to San Francisco. They host the Red Sox this weekend, and I'm covering this story, so I've got to get up on it completely because it is strange. Now, Craig Breslow, the head of operations in Boston, was a guy that was here, and I'm not. Maybe there's some rumblings that can he handle that kind of a job? Could he handle a superstar like Devers? Maybe he couldn't, and he moved on from him. So we'll see. Now, the Red Sox do have some great prospects, but that's all they are, prospects. Devers was a proven hitter. So I got to fly out to San Fran and figure this all out for the weekend.
Look at you.
He's going to face the Red Sox. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, look at you, big time. That's a big assignment, Jess.
Nice. I was surprised because I'm not exactly the Red Sox Giants expert these days, but I will be by the weekend.
You're their guy. That's the way it works, Jess. You're their guy.
You got connections. Don't worry. You talk to Breslow. You know him well. That's good. All right. Anything else we should know? Either side of town, this series specifically on the north side. What are we missing? Anything?
Well, we're now down to days, I guess, away from the return of Shota Imanaga. Incredible that they've maintained a nice pace in the Central, 5.5 up without him for a month. He's going to pitch Friday in Iowa, so still a few days away from that. But 5 days after that, he should be back with the Cubs. That puts him in St. Louis or Houston to start in about 10 to 12 days. So we are getting closer and closer. Obviously, you can't have any setbacks, but what a huge return that was. It's almost like a June trade, it'll feel like. Because think about this series, and Taillon's been great. He's pitching the middle game, I think. But the wind's blown out now. Taillon's a fly ball pitcher. It's going to change a little bit as this weather changes. So it's Ben Brown, it's Taillon, it's Cade Horton. It's good. And Cade Horton's been great. But you need Imanaga back in there as we really head towards the pennant race days in the second half. So that's going to be a huge return.
Warm night, wind blowing out. You said the offense is going to bounce back. Yeah, you think that's the case tonight?
I'm a little worried because Chad Patrick has never faced the Cubs. The Cubs have never faced Chad Patrick. Not saying he's like a number one prospect in baseball, but can take a few innings. And the Milwaukee Brewers always pitch well, so I don't want to predict anything over the next couple days.
Okay.
But and for that matter, Seattle pitches well though, better at home. So don't bet based on my feelings, Carmen. Come on.
It's warmer and the wind's blowing out, like you said. Mizrowski tomorrow will be fun too. I mean,
but
everything.
The number is going to go up when it's warmer and the wind.
Course.
That's why the casinos are still standing. For God's sake.
That is a good point. Tomorrow will be fun. Everything that kid threw the other night, it looked like it was 100.
It was gas. It was, and he had a no-hitter. He left with a no-hitter.
Yes, he did.
He twisted his ankle there. So, I love this series. Last year it was the Cubs chasing the Brewers. This year it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Neither team can afford a sweep, right? But 2 out of 3. Even if the Brewers win 2 out of 3, the Cubs can survive that much better than in the other way around. So the Cubs are in command of this division. They just have to stay in that position.
Sounds good. Good stuff, Jess. Have safe travels out to the coast.
You got it. Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. We'll see you